What's up, guys? Ryan from IW Nerd here, and today I'm going to be going through my early WrestleMania 42 predictions. I put out a video for WrestleMania 42 right after WrestleMania 41 was over. Now that SummerSlam's over, I want to be giving another kind of predictions video of some matches that I think could happen at the event, um, based on the current storylines. This is just kind of my early predictions. Things will obviously change as we get closer to the event, but let's take an early stab at it. So let's get into it. Up first, I have a match between Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vacker. Neither woman is holding a women's championship at the time of recording this, but I could easily see either of these women winning one of the women's world championships and walking into WrestleMania 42 as women's champion. And then I think that WWE could easily make this match. I think that Rhea versus Stephanie would be really solid. I think that we know Triple H loves Rhea Ripley, and they've put her kind of in huge spots since she's been on the main roster. There's no doubt about that. I also think that WWE is super high on Stephanie Vacker, and I think that they're going to push her kind of to the moon over these next few years here. So I could easily see WWE doing a Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vacker match. I think it makes sense. The match would be quality, and it's kind of a new feud for Rhea, and Rhea's faced basically everybody in the women's division right now, so she kind of needs more opponents. So I think that Stephanie Vacker would be a perfect opponent for her, and I think that this would be a great WrestleMania program. So I'm going with Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vacker as my prediction right now. Other options could be Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair and Io Sky versus Stephanie Vacker, but right now I'm thinking it's going to be Rhea versus Vacker. Up next, I have a match between Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane, the former Kabuki Warriors. I could see them splitting up as kind of a trio and then eventually facing off in kind of a triple threat match. I think that this would be a really good match. First of all, they could have the women's title involved, or they could not. I think it's a good enough match that they don't need the women's title involved, with kind of WrestleMania being two nights. I could easily see it on one of the nights of the card. It just feels like it would be a shame if we kind of don't get this match before Asuka retires. I just really think it would be strong in the ring, and I really want to see it. They've kind of been hinting, if you've been watching Raw, they've been throwing some teases about a potential split between them as kind of a faction. So maybe they're kind of planting the early seeds. That has me a little bit worried that it's not going to last until WrestleMania, but we'll have to wait and see. Right now, I'm going to predict this triple threat match: Io Sky versus Asuka and versus Kairi Sane. I think it could be really good. Other option would be Io Sky versus Jade Cargill, or Io Sky in the women's title picture, but I think this triple threat would be better. Okay, so up next, I have a match between Gunther and Brock Lesnar. I just don't think there's a ton of credible opponents for Brock Lesnar out there. With Brock returning, we're obviously going to get the match against John Cena, and then it's a bit up in the air. I've went through a bunch of opponents for Brock. I don't think they're going to do first Cody Rhodes again. Um I don't think they're going to do a match between Roman Reigns again. So it kind of leaves Brock with a bit of a question mark about who we could face at this event. Like I said, there's not a ton of credible opponents, and the person that kind of fits that bill for me personally is Gunther. I think that Gunther is a really strong talent. He's a bit in a gray area right now after losing the title, what he's kind of doing. So maybe they can kind of build something towards a feud between Brock and Gunther, which I think would be interesting. And they're kind of two hosses going at it at WrestleMania. I think it could be a really solid match. So that's my kind of current prediction. Other options would be Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, and then Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk, something like that. But I'm going with Gunther versus Brock as my initial thoughts. Okay, so up next, I'm going to predict a match between Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They recently got together as a tag team. I am not 100% convinced that this is going to be a long-term pairing. I like them together, but I don't know. I'm just not convinced they're going to last longer than maybe several months. So I'm going to predict that we get them kind of facing off in a singles match. This is going to happen after they split from each other. Obviously, one of them will turn on the other at some point, and then leading to a WrestleMania singles match. Again, WWE could also have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair in a match for the women's tag team titles in this event, but that'll be dependent on if WWE kind of wants to keep them together long term. I'm not totally convinced by it. I think both of them are kind of singles women. They're both kind of better as singles, and I think WWE is going to keep them as long-term singles. So I don't know. My gut says we see them split up at some point, and then they face off at WrestleMania. We'll see how that goes, though. Up next, I'm going to predict a mixed tag team match, which I think could be super interesting based on the current storyline. So that would be Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan versus Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. Obviously, the story goes that Liv Morgan got injured and was replaced by Roxanne Perez in the Judgment Day. I think that it's pretty easy storyline for WWE to do when Liv returns. Obviously, she's going to be upset with Judgment Day and Roxanne for kind of replacing her. I think they can kind of play into that. Liv will be jealous and upset that she was replaced so easily. And obviously, they can go into a bunch of things with Mysterio and with Finn involved as well. So I think they're kind of all in the mix. I think that adding Dominic and Finn Balor to this match would make sense. I originally thought maybe, hey, it would be Roxanne versus Liv, but I think that adding it into a mixed tag team match would be more interesting. So it would be Dominic and Liv taking her side, and then it would be Finn taking the side of Roxanne, or they can kind of do that vice versa. So Finn and Liv, or Dom and Roxanne, whatever they kind of want to do there. And there's some sort of power struggle between the Judgment Day. So I really like that idea, and I think that it could be really fun. The storyline I think will be really good. It'll all depend on when Liv Morgan's back from injury, but I think that this could be a really fun tag team match when Liv gets back. So yeah, I'm going with Dom and Liv versus Finn and Roxanne at this event. The other option would be a singles match between Liv and Roxanne, but I really like this mixed tag team idea better. Okay, up next, I have a match between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Personally, I just feel there's more story that WWE can tell in this feud between Bianca and Jade. They scratched the surface at WrestleMania 41 with their feud with Naomi, but I still think there's way more that they can do. I think that it would be even more interesting if kind of one of them turns heel and we see kind of a different element of both Jade or either Jade or Bianca's character, kind of one of them in the heel role, I think would be super interesting. I just think Bianca versus Jade would be a really strong singles match. They could easily have this for the women's title if one of them wins the world title off of Tiffany Stratton at some point. Yeah, I just think Bianca versus Jade would be a really strong women's title match, and that's what I'm kind of going with as my early prediction. Other options would be Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley or Jade Cargill versus Io Sky, but Bianca versus Jade kind of sounds the best to me right now. Okay, so I've been going back and forth on who I think Roman Reigns is going to face at WrestleMania 42. I've been between Roman Reigns versus CM Punk and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. I think both would be quality matches. And even you could even throw Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Like all three of those matches are viable, and I think that they would be really solid. Um, I have to choose, and my gut right now is telling me it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. This would be kind of for the undisputed heavyweight championship or the world heavyweight championship, sorry. They're feuding right now, and I could see Seth and Roman, I mean, so I could see them kind of stretching it out until WrestleMania. There's obviously Bronson Reed, and then there's Braun Breaker that can kind of slow it down in terms of Roman can face them on the kind of lead up to this, and then eventually Roman faces Seth. I just think when they did the Paul Heyman kind of Seth Rollins thing at WrestleMania, um, I think that they were planning this long term, and that is a match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 42. I think that's a money match. I think that they can easily build the storyline, and I just think it's going to happen. So. Yeah, that's my gut. Like I said, Roman Reigns or CM Punk and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes are the other options, but I am currently leading to Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, and I think that it would be a really, really good match and really strong main event for one of the nights. Okay, so that leaves a match between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Obviously, what I was just saying about Roman Reigns, uh, I had to kind of figure out his match and see what I liked better for the other matchups. And when I kind of configured the card, I really liked Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, and then I really liked Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk that came from that. I just think that Cody's going to be in a top match, and I think he only has kind of a few opponents that can kind of face him that are kind of top guys, and I think CM Punk fits that bill. I think they could easily do this match for the undisputed title. I think that would be a great feud and eventual match. I just think fans would really love to see it. I think they have a lot of history. I think it would be just a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm going with Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. One of them can turn heel, probably CM Punk turns heel, and that kind of elevates the feud a little more. We'll kind of see how the road to WrestleMania goes, but just looking at the other options for both guys, I just like Cody Rhodes or CM Punk at the best. So That's what I'm going with. The other options, I guess, would be CM Punk versus Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. So we'll kind of have to see. It's one of those trio. But I'm going with Cody versus Punk right now. So those are my early WrestleMania 42 predictions. Obviously, we're still several months away, so we're going to see how the storyline develops. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'd love to hear your predictions in the comment section. And also, please subscribe to this video. I'm going to be doing follow-ups on this WrestleMania prediction video in the upcoming months. And then I also do predictions for other upcoming pay-per-view events. So if you like the content, please subscribe. It really helps. So thanks a lot.